When I moved to Los Angeles, I was excited, optimistic, and utterly broke. I'd spent my entire savings on the cross-country move, hoping to start a new life and break into the film industry. But LA wasn't cheap, and after crashing on a friend's couch for a month, I had to find a place of my own. That's when I found the Craigslist of aid. It seemed perfect. A spacious room in a 2-bedroom apartment just outside of Hollywood for $700 a month. In LA terms, that was practically a steal. The ad described a chill, laid-back roommate who worked nights and was rarely home, which sounded ideal. I emailed the guy immediately, and he replied within the hour asking me to come by for a tour. The apartment was nothing fancy, but it was clean and functional, exactly what I needed. The guy renting it, who introduced himself as Alex, seemed friendly. He was in his early 30s, with an easy smile and a relaxed vibe. He told me he worked as a bartender and was renting out the spare room because his girlfriend had recently moved out. It all seemed legit. Too legit, in hindsight. I handed over the security deposit that night and moved in the next day. At first, everything was fine. Alex kept to himself, which I appreciated. I didn't see him much since he worked the late hours, and when he was home, he mostly stayed in his room. But after a week, small things started to feel off. The first incident happened on a Thursday night. I came home late from work and found my bedroom door wide open. I always closed it when I left, and I was sure I'd locked it that morning. Nothing appeared to be missing, so I chalked it up to my own forgetfulness. A few nights later, I woke up to the sound of creaking floorboards. My room was pitch black, but I could have sworn I saw the faint outline of someone standing in the doorway. My heart pounded as I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight. The doorway was empty. Still, I was shaken. I decided to start locking my door at night, just in case. About 2 weeks after moving in, the smell started. It was faint at first, just a subtle, sour odor that came and went. I thought it was the trash, or maybe something in the fridge, but no matter how much I cleaned, the smell persisted. Then one night, it got worse so bad that it woke me up. The stench was nauseating, like rotting meat, and it seemed to be coming from Alex's room. I knocked on his door the next morning, but there was no answer. When I mentioned the smell to him later that day, he shrugged it off, saying he'd left some takeout in his room and forgotten about it. That explanation didn't sit right with me. The smell was way too strong for takeout. The turning point came 3 weeks in. I'd gotten home early for once and decided to cook dinner, something I rarely had the energy to do. While boiling water for pasta, I realized I didn't have any salts, so I went to check Alex's cabinets. When I opened the pantry, I noticed a stack of small black notebooks shoved in the corner. At first, I thought they were recipe books or old journals, but something about the way they were hidden felt strange. Curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed one and flipped it open. The pages were filled with lists, names, addresses, phone numbers, and dates. Dozens of them. At first, I thought it might be some kind of contact list or diary, but the tone of the notes was disturbing. Phrases like, works late, gets home at 2 a.m., and keeps cash in bottom dresser drawer were scribbled next to many of the entries. My stomach dropped. It wasn't a journal. It was a log. That night, I barely slept. Every creak, every shadow made me jump. I didn't know what Alex's deal was, but I knew one thing. I needed to get out of that apartment. The next morning, while Alex was still asleep, I decided to do some digging. I started with the mail piled up on the kitchen counter. Most of it was junk, but I noticed something strange. None of the mail was addressed to Alex. Instead, it was addressed to someone named Daniel Kim. My blood ran cold. Who the hell was Alex? I Googled the address, and what I found made my hands shake. The apartment belonged to Daniel Kim, a man who'd gone missing 6 months earlier. There were even Reddit threads speculating about his disappearance. I knew then that I couldn't wait another night. I packed everything I could fit into my car and texted Alex that I was leaving. I lied and told him my mom was sick and I needed to move back home. He replied with a simple, okay. As I was loading my car, Alex came outside. He was smiling, but there was something off about it, like he knew I'd figured something out but didn't care. "Take care, man," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "Don't forget to leave the keys." I left the keys on the counter and drove away, my heart pounding the entire time. A week later, I got a call from the property manager of the apartment complex. Apparently, Alex had disappeared the day after I moved out. When the property manager went to inspect the apartment, they found it completely trashed, holes in the walls, stolen appliances, and hidden cameras in every room, including mine. The worst part? The police couldn't find any trace of Alex. The name, the job, the backstory, everything he told me was a lie. To this day, I don't know who he really was or what he planned to do. All I know is that I got out just in time. After the experience, I was terrified to trust anyone. But the scare taught me how to be cautious and how to advocate for myself. I eventually found a great apartment with real roommates through a friend of a friend. They became like family to me, and I learned to laugh again. Looking back, I realized how lucky I was. I escaped something that could have ended much, much worse. And now I know to trust my gut when something feels off.